Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm going to talk about my topic today, delivering security fundamentals and device hardening with NinjaOne. To quickly introduce myself, so my name is York, like the city York in the UK, for example, or like the Yorkshire pudding that I have tried for the first time in my life last week. It's a very good dish. I really appreciated that. I work as a product marketing manager for NinjaOne in Berlin for the EMEA region. We all know this here. There have been a lot of technological advancements in IT and in cybersecurity specifically, and also obviously the bad guys have benefited from this more than the good guys, probably. And the different actors in IT, they move at a different pace, you can say. Some are faster and some are slower. And obviously this is something that is exploited by the bad guys, by the threat actors. Also with the new technologies, AI in social engineering, for example, or also in automation to detect targets. And that's why I want to talk about the cybersecurity fundamentals that are still very important, and I will have some funny examples, or maybe not funny is the right word, but some examples. So first of all, I would like to talk about the cyber threats, and I would like to focus on ransomware because, there are different types of malware, and we all agree that, or I think ransomware has a very devastating potential effect, so that's why I'm focusing on that, and I will give an example, some data. We'll have a quick look at the ransomware kill chain, and then at our layered approach to endpoint security. So yes, in February 2022, I think everyone was shocked by what happened. Russia invaded Ukraine. And there's this Russian hacker group, Conti, that quickly after the invasion officially voiced their support for the Russian government. And this led to a disagreement in this Russian hacker group, and which then led to an information leak. I don't know if you heard about this. Maybe there's a really interesting report done by the company EMEA, where they analyze actually thousands of chat conversations and playbooks and tactics and instructions for these Russian hackers. And it also reveals, we knew this already, but it was again a proof that they operate like a business also, and they operate very efficiently. And then, for example, they also gather their data, who they attack. And I thought I bring this slide since it's in the UK. But they seem to like to attack the UK a lot. But Germany is also quite popular on this list, that's where I'm from. So this is what they like to attack. And then what is also interesting is who they attack. This is also from their own data that was compiled. And obviously, we always think about very sophisticated attacks and so on larger organizations. But when we look what they actually do, they attack small and medium-sized business. And in Germany, and I think in the UK, in all our economies, the SMB space is very big and has also a lot of importance for the economy. And sometimes, just recently I talked to one of my MSP customers, and he told me a story that's kind of crazy, I thought. So basically, he has a customer who is a handyman with 5 employees, and this customer of my MSP had a file server actually, where he stores invoices and all tax-relevant data. And then the MSP took over this customer and told him, like, your file server is encrypted. And then this handyman was like, I know, but I already got my tax return. It's fine. I don't need this data anymore. So I think, this is it's an extreme case, and but it's also But yeah, it's a handyman somewhere in Berlin. But anyways, I mean, it's extreme, but it still is a good illustration of the neglect of security sometimes. Yeah, so I mean, I'm not telling you anything new here, I think, but it's still there over the years. Obviously, I think a couple of years ago, threat actors very often they would break into a system and then encrypt the data, get the ransomware, get the ransom and run basically. Now, obviously, then the companies adapted. They got better at backup, at disaster recovery, and so on. And also another real life story, another client of mine, I asked them, have you been affected by ransomware in the last year? And he was like, not directly me, but I took over a client that was affected by ransomware. What happened basically, yeah, that client had another MSP, so he got the ransomware attack, and then the MSP was, okay, we're going to restore your system. So they restored the system, they had disaster recovery, and what happened? They restored the system with the ransomware, so it was not so good, not the best result. So the customer was very unhappy, and then switched to the other MSP that I work with. But yeah, I mean, these are like extreme cases, and I know this, but still it's a good illustration about how obviously what is going on now. And this is also, you can read this in the EMEA report that like this Russian hacker group Consi, they gave the instruction, stay as long as you can in the network, avoid the domain controller, avoid servers that are monitored a lot, and try to get as much accounts as you can. So like privilege escalation, lateral movement, obviously steal data to have more leverage in ransom negotiations. And then only when you have that network dominance, then you start the encryption. And this takes on average 200 days. And this has been actually quite constant from what I have seen in this IBM analysis over the years. So yeah, and then another 70 days on average to get containment. So that's a long time to solve a ransomware attack. Yeah, so our approach, the layered approach to endpoint security, looks like this. So at the core, that's a very fundamental thing, is endpoint visibility in general. The next layer is device hardening, for example, the operating system. Then the patch management, keep the systems up to date. Security applications. And then the last layer is the backup. So visibility obviously is super important because very easy rule applies. What you cannot see, that you cannot protect. We've heard this obviously also in other presentations. And then you need real-time monitoring also, and then also across the board in home office or in the domain. So the real-time alerting is also super important so that you get notifications about suspicious behavior. And then here on the right hand we see a couple of examples like BitLocker encryption is disabled or a new remote access software is installed. Then device hardening, next layer. Yeah, mitigating vulnerable legacies like SMB1 or old PowerShell versions. You know that. Hardening the operating system, leveraging like the tools like the attack surface reduction or protect against exploits from Microsoft. Or BitLocker obviously, also the disk encryption. Then managing the accounts, so removing local admin rights, deleting old accounts. These are all basic stuff, but still every day people get hacked because of this, because of these basic vulnerable, or how do you say this, these basic things. And then harden applications, the browsers, and just having an inventory of all the applications and monitoring what is installed or deleted. Then obviously the patching, we have already seen this also. Here the visibility obviously is super important so that you can see all the patches obviously for different operating systems. that you can see the CVE numbers and the CVSS scores. And this is also something that you probably all, like everyone knows this, that over the recent years, the time between the exploit and the discovery and the exploit used to be, I think, 7 days. Now it's just 1 or 2 days. So you need to be able to act fast. If you have a patch with a high CVSS score, you need to push out that patch immediately. And then also, no matter where the device is standing, you know, if it's in home office or not. And I've seen big companies, also a client of mine, they had a lot of devices remotely then because of the pandemic, and then they had a critical update of a VPN client, and for like 100 devices, they were like literally connecting with TeamViewer everywhere and installing this update. So not a very fun job. And then obviously you need to validate and report on your patching success. Yeah, deploy security applications, AV, ideally EDR solutions, but then also monitoring compliance, so meaning is everything really installed, is it activated, deactivated, is it up to date, and so on. And then having alerting, real-time alerting in a single pane obviously is convenient. And then the last layer, backup, having a good thorough strategy here, 3 to 1, for example, so 3 copies of your data on 2 different devices, so a server and a NAS device, for example, and then 1 in the cloud. And then obviously also you need to alert and monitor that, and be sure that the backups are running like they should. Yeah, and then that's how we approach it. I mean, we as a vendor position ourselves as unified IT management. So at the core, you have monitoring and alerting, which is super important, as everyone knows, to detect suspicious behavior, for example. Then the patch management. And it's a cloud solution, so you deploy the agent everywhere, and no matter where it stands, you can reach it as long as it has internet. So that reduced time to exploit, you can react to that faster. And then software deployment and scripting, and then you also have remote access and backup. Yeah, so that's just about the unified IT management. Conclusion, monitoring and alerting obviously is super important because of the approach that hackers are following, and they're still following this approach, as Conti has shown. Then backup is critical, but alone also not sufficient. So you really have to manage, even if it's boring sometimes, you know, it's more sexy to talk about AI and all that, but work on that cybersecurity fundamentals. And then obviously global talent shortage speaks to everyone probably. And if your cybersecurity engineer leaves the company and you're like lost, then this is also a problem. So technologies need to be easy to use. Yes, and that's all from my side. So thank you very much.